also recording, but as I said, that it's totally voluntary basis, and if you want, also you can mute your camera. And we prepared today for you some presentation for you, so that we could share also with you actually the reason, right, why we connected today in the webinar. And I will share my screen today, and this will be basically the first thing which I will start with. This way it will be, I think, easier to share the material with you. Okay, I mean, it will be totally informal. You can stop at each moment. It will not be just one way. We will make an open discussion later on, but we will just start just to give you a bit of context, okay, for you, and then afterwards we can basically continue. So today we will start with a short round of presentation of Lecturers Without Borders, very short. Then we will come to our dear speakers, well, very short also introduction of what actually the last pre-COVID era of Lecturers Without Borders did, because there were several people who managed to actually make several lectures in Kenya before the COVID started. And that would be really interesting to see actually what was their experience. And we wanted to share it with you because most of you who now are connecting in the webinar actually are either running their own science communication projects or giving lectures within the lectures which we organize, or already helped to organize it. So we wanted really to share this offline experience of pre-COVID. And then afterwards, we will also share some of the information about post-COVID, some solutions which can be, for example, online videos, right? Or some maybe webinars. Maybe you can tell us also what is your experience, what is your suggestions here. And then afterwards, we will come to the open discussions where everyone, like Antru, Ilya, Dev, Shivani, everyone, Anna Balateya, anyone, everyone can ask and suggest everything, present yourself. So if it's fine for you, we will then start with a quick presentation of who we are, who organized it for you. So Nasia, maybe you can start very briefly who you are and.
Yes. Hi all. Most of you I've seen before, but some people are new to me. So nice to meet you. I'm Athanasia Nicolaou. I'm part of the people who started the Lectures Without Borders together with Luba. So I'm now a researcher in Rome. I just moved recently from Germany to Rome, and I got the lockdown bonus first. So I'm here and I'm studying planetary science. And yes, here I am for you. And nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you.
Yes. Yeah, Delphine?
Yeah, okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Delphine Clara. I'm a researcher at the University of Göttingen, based in Germany. And I've been working a lot with Indonesia, and we made also some project there. So yeah, I'm helping to organize Levibo, and yeah, I'm really happy to see all of you here today and looking forward to our discussion.
Misha?
Hello, my name is Mikhail Kotyakov. I live in Germany. I'm from Russia, but now live in Munich. And I think I'm the only co-founder who is a teacher now, not a scientist. I studied mathematics and I met Luba in Potsdam, where I did my master thesis. But now I'm a teacher at a center for additional education, where students, high school students, come to us after school or on Saturdays to learn mathematics or other sciences. And yeah, we teach them in small clubs. Happy to see you all for the first time.
Yes, yes. And Anastasia, if you are known.
Yes, I'm here. Yes. Hi to everyone. I'm Anastasia. I'm another Russian living in Germany, in Munich, working closely with Misha, and my task is mainly to expand our school database, but I'm also involved in other activities. I have joined the team in November, and since that time, I'm happy here with the team and happy to know you now practically, personally in this virtual time.
Yes, thank you. So we will come back to the people who are also already basically happening to be part of the big international family, either as partners or as people who gave lectures, but just few numbers for those people who have never been here, because I see some new faces here. And the way how it works, usually with the Lectures Without Borders, is that people share plans, travel plans that say go from A to B. Then we see in our database of schools or associations or universities, whether there is a school where you go. Then we organize a lecture, and then we connect, right, these lectures to the people who are, for example, locally there, who were like, for example, Stephanie in Kenya, who merged together, right, people who were traveling with a local institution. That was how it was working before. And some facts about us, that before actually 3 years that we existed, we never had any funding. We existed basically on voluntary basis, and we were existing just thanks to all of like us, right, who were connecting, for all of you who were contributing, and that's all we all give you all credits for that. So and Lectures Without Borders, it's right, it's a network. And it's only recently started to be a larger network thanks to the contribution of people who also helped to basically hire a coordinator, then Anastasia, who joined us. And then when Anastasia joined us, the network started to increase, and it started to grow from basically one country where it started, from Nepal and India. And then afterwards, it started to grow to Germany, Argentina, Uruguay, Spain, Portugal, and other, I mean, incredible networks we will see today. But just briefly, just to also mention that we never, as a co-founders or like as a people, we never met in one place. We always were coordinating each other actually in webinar form. So this is also a fun fact actually about us. And another point, maybe Anastasia and Mikhail can comment on here, that we connected to more than 8,000 schools in more than 30 countries, and that was something which was also thanks to the friends of network. And when Anshu or all the people like Marina, they were right connecting us to many different people in different countries. I don't know if Mikhail or Anastasia can comment on that later if you have questions here. I mean, just to mention that, yeah, we have partners in different parts of the world.
I can
yeah.
add to line.
Yes.
Or I can add to line. When we say about 8,000 schools, it's a rough number, because sometimes we do have direct connections to the schools. Sometimes we do have universities who are partnering with us. Sometimes we do have educational institutions like associations who are very interested in the initiative, and they help us to promote. And if we have a scientist or researcher go into the region, they are happy to assist and to accommodate, to find the proper school to arrange a lecture.
Mm-hmm.
So this number can be also bigger than it is now, and we hope it will grow bigger also in the coming months. Maybe not necessarily now in the pandemic, but later for sure. And we also hope to expand our geography, because during the past months we have reached to South America, to more countries in Africa, in Europe, and in Asia, and to also to other countries. And so we have some negotiations in progress to hope to make it true.
Yeah. Yes, and if you have any actually of your schools, right, where you would like to bring someone who is traveling, you can always reach out to Anastasia, and she will connect, because she's incredible in doing that. If also scientists never did before any lectures, right, there is a help kit also for scientists, because there are different people who come. There are some who already had a lot of experience, like Dev, right, and like Ilya, or who have lectured a lot, but there are some people who will do it for the first time, and that's also what we try to write in the website here. We will share the presentation later also if you want to look at it more on that, or discuss or make corrections, because this is all under open, right, considerations here. But so just briefly to give you also some to show you some faces of people, not all unfortunately, because we couldn't put it all here, of people who actually already contributed from different parts of the world. And if you want to register, if you didn't yet register, you can do it here on this page. And the main point, of course, is that when people, lecturers, are doing lectures, they can also always connect to the schools again later on. So it's always a continuous creative process, and there are kind of many projects which can come up later on. It's not us who are doing the lectures, it's you who, I mean, the scientists who are doing these lectures. Our scientific advisory board also really helps us. They are scientists from different parts of the world, from Uruguay, from Spain, from France, and so they all support also this initiative in their own way. So they basically help us with general guidances, and if you want to look into that, you can also visit it on the website. And some numbers to give you basically a brief idea of what we already did. It's very rough numbers because, for example, when we organized some schools, right, and the workshops in Senegal, it was a series of workshops, so we don't know how to count them. And the main, of course, is not about the quantity, but about the quality. So, of course, it depends on how you want to count that. But very rough numbers is that they're growing. And recently, because of these COVID limitations of traveling, we wanted to discuss with you what actually would be a good solutions for traveling lecturers, to how to overcome this and to continue to support schools where they want to welcome scientists. And we have some data visualization skills on GitHub, and about how actually some scientists are traveling. We wanted to investigate that through the Open Humans project, which we launched recently. And some people, I think, like me and Bastian, they who are part also of the lectures community, they could give you more ideas about how we actually try to understand where actually scientists are traveling while not violating their privacy, right? Because it's a very important point. But we wanted to understand where they would be going, and that's one of the part of the project which we launched on Open Humans platform. If you are interested, we will also give you the links to that, because we wanted to also be very transparent on that. And now we will come to the first pre-COVID session. It was it was one of those lectures whom I never met offline, except Julian, right, and Stephanie. And the main idea which we wanted to ask from Julian and from Anna, who were our last but not least, hopefully, speakers, right, at the school in Kenya, was to actually ask whether the experience which they had when they were having these offline lectures, how was it? Was it difficult to give a lecture in school, in the university, in their case, which was completely unfamiliar for them? They went to another country, right, from Portugal to, for example, in case of Anna, Faustina to Kenya, and in the case of Julian Ferreras from Argentina to Kenya. And that's what we wanted to ask you, Julian and Anna. I don't know who wants to start and to present themselves.
Anna, of course.
Anna,
Me?
are you here?
Okay.
Yes.
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 Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Nice to meet you, even if it's just online.
Hey.
Okay, so yeah, I think so as Lyubov was saying, we gave a talk on the 11th of March. I think both me and Julian, we actually attended a meeting on science engagement. Mm-hmm. So this opportunity to give a talk with Lecturers Without Borders was something that happened on the side. And it was great. I think at least for me, it was a really great opportunity. For me, especially when I went there, I think we knew that Kenya had already some travel restrictions in terms of meetings being organized. So they had already banned meetings with more than 15 persons. I think when this was announced, Julian was already there. I still flew because I had scheduled vacations after the meeting was over. So I decided to go anyways, and Kenya didn't have any cases. In Portugal, we had very few, so I still went. So I mean, I think when going there, I was not so concerned about the situation because in Portugal it was still starting. Yeah, and then in preparing the talk and giving the talk, I think for me it was a really good experience. Everything went smoothly. I think it was my first. I decided to give a career talk because I did research in the past. Now I'm no longer doing research. I'm working on
What
a
you're
social
working on?
innovation.
Yeah.
I'm working on a social innovation project, a social innovation science education project that aims at basically increasing science literacy in a remote location in Portugal. And that's what I'm doing at the moment. So I decided to basically speak about the process of like how I decided to be a biologist. Yes, sorry.
Yes, just to, hi. Just for those who haven't met you before and don't know about the event, could you tell a bit the title of the event and what is your background, your research, like science background maybe? Or
yeah. Thank you for interrupting me. I did not know so much about what exactly to say.
Sorry.
Yeah, so no worries. I did biology for bachelor and then ecology for the master's, and then my main research was in social neuroscience. So that's where my research for PhD and for the postdoc was in that area. Yeah, and I did my research career mostly in Portugal and in Germany, in Berlin, and then I moved on from science to this project that I'm working at the moment.
And
so
it was the
basically,
Open Science Hub, right? Open Science
Yes.
Hub was one of those.
Yes, yeah. So now I'm working in a project called Open Science Hub Portugal, and I'm mainly coordinating the open schooling strategy that we have, which has the goal of basically promoting school performance while teaching, while engaging students in STEAM activities. That's like the shortest way to describe it. Yeah. I don't know if there's something else that I could add, but maybe now Julian has to speak. I don't know.
Anna, I have one question regarding communication language. Was there a problem in communicating in English? Like how was the students? Were they speaking English or like?
No, because in Kenya English is also an official language, so it was really no problem. Everyone speaks.
Oh, okay.
English. Yeah, everyone speaks English perfectly, so there was really no barrier.
That's good to know. Yeah.
And we get to learn some Swahili while going to these countries as well, so it's nice.
And actually, in terms of topic, was it actually reachable for the audience? Because I mean, for any school, right? When you go to any place, it's not so easy, right, to choose a topic. And this is always a question for traveling lecturers when they want to understand whether it will be suitable for the audience. What was your main topic of the lecture, and how was it?
Yeah, as I was saying, because I'm not doing research at the moment, I decided to basically speak about the process. So I gave more like a career talk, and I spoke about the moment when I decided to be a biologist and what was behind that, and then the process, like from going to biology, ecology, and then PhD, postdoc, and then why I am at the moment. And I tried to kind of give a little bit of share successes and frustrations throughout this process that we often all feel but don't share so much. So that was the goal. And I think maybe they were not expecting something like that. I think they probably were expecting something more really focused on research. But I thought that, I mean, given that I'm not doing research at the moment, I thought it would be also interesting to show that if you have a research background, you can still do something else and use your background to do something else. So that's why I decided to do it like that. And I think people enjoyed it in the end. So
okay, yeah. And what about you, Julian? Can you present yourself? Yes, your background and what you were speaking about.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Julian. I'm a scientist at the National Science Institution that is called CONICET, and I'm based in Argentina, in the very north of the country, very far away from Buenos Aires. That means a lot. Means that we don't have the same resources and everything else. We are very far from everything, and opportunities and a lot of things. So I have a bachelor's degree in genetics, a PhD in molecular biology. That I got it in Spain. And then I had a postdoc experience. I spent many years in New York, at Cornell University, working in microbiology department. And in 2010, I came back to Argentina just as a scientist, and I am currently the director of the Institute of Subtropical Biology. That is a new institute that we contributed to put everything together. That is something that I'm very proud of doing here, because since we arrived, we had to start everything from scratch here. About this experience with the Lecturer Without Border, I learned about this experience from you in Berlin last November, and I got fascinated by the idea because it's a very simple idea that I never thought about before. The simple idea that scientists travel a lot, and I think it's a great opportunity. So when this opportunity about going to Kenya, so I had this opportunity. So I was thinking about writing an email to you to see if there was some possibility. And just the next day, I got an email from her, from the Polling World, that it was the institution that was the foundation that was organizing this meeting in Kenya, just offering this possibility of doing some lecture in the university or in some school. So I was very excited about being part of this initiative, and I want to thank everybody just for allowing me to be part of it.
Yeah, it was actually Stephanie, right, who was actually really organizing it, because being very far away, being in France, we couldn't do it. So actually it was you, Julian, and Stephanie who were coordinating. Yeah. Stephanie, it's a person whom we will present also later for you, but yes. So how was this organization process? Because you basically were arriving to a country where you haven't been before, right? And Stephanie was your person who was taking you to the university, or how was it?
Yeah. Stephanie organized everything. It was also part of the meeting. We were part of in the other meeting that we went. So Stephanie was a great helper for everything. It was a great host. The thing that it was, we had a very short time to organize. And when the days before, it was this prohibition of the government to do meetings, these kind of things. And till the very last day, or the day before of our talk, we didn't know exactly if we were going to be able to give the lecture or no. So this was the only thing that it was a little bit
uncertain, right?
The uncertainty, but it was not because the organization. It was the global situation and.
You mean the virus outbreak? Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it was not part of anyone's responsibility, but besides of the things, all the other things were great. People at the university were great. Till the day before, I didn't know who was going to be the audience, and so that was a little bit difficult to think about what to present about. But then, so Anna was also a great partner, and so and I think everything went smooth. And as Anna said, I guess the students there maybe expected some more technical, more hard science in the talk.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end, I think it was very nice to have a mix of both things.
Mm-hmm.
Personal career mixed with hard science.
Mm-hmm.
I think that maybe Stephanie can say something else about how people or the audience felt about the talks.
Yes.
I think for me, as a personal experience, was a great experience.
Yes, that would be great. Thank you, Julian. Stephanie, can you say a few words, please, about basically what were your expectations from organizing it, right, in your country, and what was the outcomes? Maybe you had some feedback, or yeah.
Hi guys, hope you can hear me.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry you
Perfect.
can't see me.
No problem.
But I think this was my first time, first of all, organizing lectures. And just to give a background, is we met with Liu during last year at the Falling Walls conference in Berlin, and it was amazing. We were just in awe of what she was doing with the aspect of just using already what's existing to facilitate something new. And when she approached me, it was abrupt because we only had like 1 week actually to organize the lectures. And at that time, just the way Anna and Julian said, our country had put a ban on meetings of international nature. So it was already, the environment in itself was not conducive for doing such a forum. But either way, it worked out. Organizing it was a little bit easier for me, considering I've always been in contact with the university department. So that made it a little bit easier because you find like in universities, I don't know if it's the case in other countries, but in Kenya, there is a lot of protocols to follow, letters to write. You also need to book a room. So they were like, this is really a good idea, but it's also very short notice. But the chairman really pushed for it and was open. And considering the way we said, all of us were unsure even because we had not yet even gotten confirmation if they had gotten the room. But at least we did. And Anna and Julian really twisted what was expected, because I have attended some of these lectures and most of the time they're so technical, focusing on the research topic. But this was a little bit different because there are some challenges that as researchers we go through. And I think people who have traveled have had at least the experience to be open-minded, and also an opportunity to network has made things easier. But for people who've not really had that opportunity, miss out on such things. So Anna and Julian talking about the experiences and challenges, and coming from different countries, especially people could resonate with Julian's in terms of research space, because South America and Africa do have the same challenges. And Anna, how she switched careers, hula hooped different careers and made it work, but still connected, really made sense. And the amazing thing about this is that the department is interested in now having a further conversation with Lectures with Borders, so that they can be having constant, I think the main challenge of such a platform is you need continuous flow of information, because you need information of who's traveling, where, and you need also their schedule. I think being in constant, having a constant or a concrete partner in that space makes it easy. So you see, with like a university, they'll tell you this lecture is traveling here, these are the dates, and this is his area. So it makes it easy. But I think the beauty of it all is putting a twist on what was expected, and people really loved it. And some are even more interested in knowing, even if it's not in that specific university, they can be going to other universities. And also just the department being more interested in it. So I love that aspect of not being a one-time thing, because that is always important. How do you move from just it being a one lecture to having it a network?
Yeah.
So I think that was good. And thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, this is a great opportunity actually to work with all of you. And I see also here, Thea, also Elia and Dev, who also actually already gave lectures in Uganda, in France, and in India. And we would like also to make further webinars actually to speak about your experiences, because like in Kenya, right, experience will be one, and in other countries it will be completely different. And it will be very important to compare these two, and I mean not to compare, but like to make this basically right experience more shareable. So
actually, a question
yes.
maybe, Luba, to Stephanie. So you said that it was short notice. Could you tell how many days would be your ideal to know before someone visits for the next time?
For the next time, I think 2 to 3 weeks makes it very easy and simple, because you see what happens in such universities. They have to send a memo also.
No,
so
that's good to
that
know,
people,
because for academic standards, 2-3 weeks is still fast, I would say.
yes, still fast, but I'll just say 2 to 3 weeks or 4, but at least 2 to 3 weeks you're able to send a letter. I'm assuming the first week. The second week, I'm working with the shortest notice, 2 weeks. So first week you draft the letter and then get the approval. The other week you book a room and also send the memo. Because also if you do it like 4 weeks, I'm assuming, and then you send the memo like 1 or 2 weeks before, but then people will have forgotten or something of the sort. But 2 weeks, as soon as one knows, but I'll say 2 to 3 weeks just to answer your question.
Thank you. That's very useful.
Other questions actually to the speakers, or we can move a bit forward. I mean, we will have open discussions where you will all present, have time to present yourself. But if you have questions to Julian, Anna, or Stephanie.
Just one thing I forgot to say. I think the willingness of the participants really matters of the lectures, because I really like to appreciate Liu and Julian and Anna, because they really worked with the timing and they're very flexible. Because you know there's some people who want to know what time is it. There are people who are strict with their schedule, but they're very flexible and ready to work with the uncertain. So I'll really like to appreciate, because I think it won't even be possible if it did went through, but the lectures were not winning because of a lot of uncertainty in the planning.
Yes, yeah. So you mean being flexible is basically one of the important key things here, right? To accept some of these uncertainties. So because with the basically time limitations in this case, because we wanted to discuss right with you all, we wanted to move a bit forward towards the post-COVID era, meaning that we already tried some of the online lectures, like lectures which you see a screenshot here in online setup, but actually we never really were focused on that, because we knew that other people are working on that and we wanted to stay more in the fields, right? But so we prepared for you several of the analytics parts, and Nasia, I give you the floor for presenting, right, the slides here which you presented, which you prepared. Nasia?
Yes. Now, sorry, I was muted. Thanks. We can keep your screen shared, so that's easier actually.
Yes.
And I will let you know if we change slide.
Yes.
I mean, there are actually some data that I found, by looking for them in the internet. And the first one that I looked for was, what is the mobility looking like right now, with the most recent data I could get my hands on. So this is actually some data on the left for the flight radar 24, which monitors the flights I mean, across the world, actually. So this is the European, this is the international flights, so global, but the commercial ones only. So we don't count, you know, sorry for the camera, there is a problem here with the new filters.
No problem, no problem.
Even. So basically, here you see that the flights have been, let's say, limited to 75%. So they have a decrease of 75% from the start of this, of the most measures, the most, let's say, drastic measures that were taken around end of March, mid-March in more European countries and in the US. So the drop is by 75% in the flights. So this is the basic means of transportation we use when we need to cross continents, of course, right? Even though the trains are also a solution, but in more connected networks like Central Europe, this can be a solution. Also, like within a country, this can be a solution. But the planes is the first thing that is affected. And of course, you see there is a big drop. There is also another source of information, which is Google, as we all know. And they have published some anonymized data where they publish basically the relative mobility changes per country. So I just used some of the countries, some of those that we happened to have already made lectures for reference. And you can see two types of data. So they calculated, this is data from the end of March, so this is 29th of March. And they calculated what is the difference, the relative difference relative to a baseline location frequency of the users. And these locations can be identified either personally, so the residence, this is something that the user has to make known, or the transit stations which are publicly available, I mean the trains, the airports and everything. And you see, of course, there is a huge drop in the transit stations, 80%, something like that, by 80%. On average, and that's of course, yeah, that's self-understood, and this is a proxy for the mobility that we can have across countries as well. The residents, on the other hand, you see that is increased, but maybe not that much as we would expect, right? We would expect people to stay more at home. Still, this is not definite data because they have, you know, we don't know the sample, but what this tells us is that people have to stay at home, but still they have to move around. So they have some extra time at home, but not so much. Luba, could you go for the next one, please? Yeah, so there are actually companies which do consultancy on aviation, and this is a report of one of those. And they try to make projections for where this thing is going to shift, like where the flights are going to resume, especially, by an analogy to China. So that's like one method that they do. And the China is here represented with all the red curves. So you can see the number of flights that, I mean, relative number of flights, domestic and international, that go down, starting from counting from the day that the first, that the 100th confirmed case of the virus was located. And you see that in China, what happened is that they dropped up to 75% as well of their flight total number. And they started resuming 10 days after the reduction in the new cases. This is what you can see at the area graph, so this red area. And they resumed up to 50% of the previous status. For Europe, if you do the same combination, the same comparison, it is of course looking different. So we are still at the drop of flights, and the number of new cases that are discovered are still on the rise. So let's say if you would apply the same policy, which is totally not necessary that this happens, we still have a lot of way to go, and this situation can last for longer. So yeah, that's the message from here. Luba, can you go to the next? Thank you. So here, that's actually data from the UNESCO site, and they monitor how the schools responded to that. So when did we have shutdown of schools on a global scale? And this is for the period of end of February until now. And you see that in the beginning, there was actually only local shutdowns of schools. This is the magenta color. So some countries shut down schools, but not on a national level. But when the country becomes purple, this means it's on a national level. And you see that there's now such limitations all over the world, basically. And you can go on, Liba, the last slide for this. Thank you. Yes, and now how do we take it from here, right? Of course, the first thing that happened everywhere is to move the courses online. And that's the only, I mean, the next platform that everyone thinks of. But there is also some attention span that a student can have on the online, right? So this is interesting. I read it actually yesterday in an excerpt from the New York Times, where one of the students, high school students, commented that most students are under the impression that school is optional, given the circumstances we're in. So they just decide not to log in, and that's easy. And then you can skip school, and that's actually one of the things that, you know, I mean, grabbing the attention of students is always a hard thing. So now this is one extra way, let's say, that we have to think of. Yeah, so basically that was from me, the part of analytics, and yeah, we can think about it, how we take it from here, because obviously lectures on site are not going to be possible soon, let's say soon. Most of you could have seen already an email of Anastasia that we asked for some video lectures of some people who had more experience and have already such material. And this is yeah, like another open call. So and also it's an invitation to tell us your opinion, like how do you feel about online lectures? Do you have such experience? Would you look into it, or how do you think of this new thing?
Yes, thank you, Nasia. Yeah, here we actually wanted to invite everyone to the participate in on kind of ongoing discussions, right? Whether actually how you think, what you think, what is your experience about online lectures, or what is the situation now in your country with online education. Maybe, I don't know, Anshu or Vipin, you could comment, you could start, because I know that I've been in, you had a lot of experience in teaching offline, and now with transforming it to online, maybe it has changed. Can I ask you about some insights on that?
Hi, I'm Vipin. I am basically a professor with Chandigarh University, Department of Biotechnology, and I'm also a postdoc at Paris. And I've just come back from Paris last month. And in India now, most of the education is shifted to online courses, and most of the institutes have fair amount of infrastructure to continue with online lectures and also assess the students online. And but then, of course, there is always a there's always a variety to lectures when you can avail lectures from somebody else and somebody who has more expertise. So in that sense, Lectures Without Borders and Lecturers Without Borders can contribute, and we can talk with the institutes here and tell them that we have this, and we can act as a node to disseminate that we have a collection of people who are ready to, talk to us and interact with students. So that would add a bit of slides and a bit of variety, and I guess that would be good. And it would also be interesting for the students who may not be very interested in seeing the same teachers whom they have been seeing in classes. Online, of course, is not that interactive. So beyond a point, it would be good that you have some new faces and fresh blood into it, so that things get a little more interesting for the students. And of course, we can also record lectures. And I would suggest that in such times where we know that at least for the next 5 or 6 months, classroom teaching may not be available. At least 2 months is for the lockdown. And by the time things become normal and we have 0 cases for COVID, only then probably we'll get into the assembly class and take real-time classes on. So I think this is a way forward to have your lectures recorded. Quality of lectures is important. We must also know what kind of are the students looking for, where do they have some problems, and if you could have a graded system where you start from very basic and then take them to a point where the kind of some kind of expertise comes in. So the lectures have to be structured in such a way that you have a very transient transformation from simple to complex, so that they follow it easily, and maybe that some sort of evaluative system will also be important, so you can have some practice exercises, more of the kind of like we have the MOOCs, the open online courses, right? And I guess that should be fine.
But actually about some, so the needs of the educational institutions basically is that there is a need of A, B, C subjects and in the number of hours, right? So they need more continuous, right, kind of courses. That's what your also one of the messages, right?
Yes.
I get.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone who wants actually to connect on that and present themselves?
Maybe everyone is scared, or maybe we can ask Misha to tell us if he wants also some comment, because he's also a teacher and he actually had some thoughts on this. Misha?
Or Anshu, I don't know. Yes, Anshu, Misha, somebody wanted to comment?
Please go on.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Actually, I have a question on the online experience that you have. You said that you have already used some material, right? So, or no, or this is misunderstood.
Yeah.
The question is,
have you used the online material before with the students, like with the?
Yes, to some extent, in terms of evaluation and everything. So once I take the lectures, I make some exercises, and those can be evaluated online. And I have taken some online lectures as well. I'm going to take one next week with my previous university. So yes, but then real-time classes are definitely what is more preferable. But in the current times, I guess this would be a best way to take us forward, and it should be nice. And then on Facebook, I connect to a lot of students via a group called NetGate Quiz. So in India, there is a competition called National Eligibility Test for students who want to go into higher education. So once you qualify this examination, you are eligible for a fellowship of certain amount of money per month. And that allows you to take admission also into the premier institutions for research. So through Facebook, I'm connected, the NetGate Quiz group, I'm connected to over 800 students. I post questions, then we have some sort of discussions, and the students answer, and then I write an explanation also to what the question wanted and how it had to be answered and what is the logic behind it. So that is also one of the ways. That's not real time. It happens over time. I post the question, the next day morning I check if some student has answered. Sometimes they don't answer, and the students can also post questions. Okay. It's more of a discussion group kind of trying to solve the questions.
Actually, that's an interesting point that you make, because the discussion group that you describe is actually one of the things that everyone suggests, that the students, even if they are located somewhere else, they should still have a way to come together, right? So this, you think this is actually the way forward, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's good to know.
Maybe, I don't know if maybe I can give a different perspective. So I'm not a teacher and I'm not giving classes, but I work with teachers. That's what I do the most. And as I said earlier, I'm working in a remote location, and here in this part of Portugal, especially you have at least, more or less a quarter, a little bit more of the students that don't have access to computers or internet because they live in remote villages. So this is a big problem, and these kids, the teachers try to, through the municipality, have paper tasks sent to them in the last 2 weeks before the Easter vacation started. But of course, now for the third term, this is not an option. So there's something else that needs to be provided. But apart from the system in paper that is going to take place, especially for the younger kids that don't know yet how to deal with the online tools, the teachers had a really, a lot of them don't use online tools, unfortunately still, but they really were super dedicated to learn how to work with them, and they mostly use Google Classroom and Zoom. For the younger kids, they use Google Classroom. For the secondary, like high school kids, they used Zoom mostly to give their classes. But I think it's been like a learning process for everyone. And I think they are now more, during the third term, going to master more how to use these online tools for the different types of things that you have to do, like not only give the material, like the educational content, but also to be able to reply to doubts and questions, as someone was saying before. So this is, I think, a learning process. And actually, I think also just to share a little bit of what's happening here in Portugal, actually the government decided to have a school in TV. So because of this difficulty of some kids not having internet or computer, there will be a TV schedule from Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 5:50 p.m. where everyone will be able to get classes from the first grade to the 9th grade. Only the kids in the secondary level will be, because they are older and most of them are able to master Zoom and can communicate with their teachers in some other way, then they won't have these classes. And maybe if they do later on in schools, this is something that the government is still considering, that they go back to schools maybe in May, and then they can do the third term in the schools, because then they will have the exams to go to the university. So that's why they are the priority for the ones that if someone goes back to school, it will be them. But yeah, just to share some of the experience
good.
here.
I mean, I haven't heard before of this TV channel, and that's a very good use of TV channels that belong to the state, actually.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
It's interesting because in Portugal this happened already. I also did not know about this because I was born in '87, but apparently there was also another phase in Portugal where there was school TV from the 60s until 80 something before I was born.
Yeah.
And it was exactly related with the fact that the 5th and the 6th grade, because this is like a cycle in Portugal, and it was considered to be like a temporary solution in the educational format that we have. And because there were no schools of this 5th and 6th grade for some time, then there was this solution of school TV, but then it actually was, I mean, people stopped it, but now it's again a solution. And I know that Spain is also using it, so I think at least two countries are already using this solution.
Yeah. So even in India, we have the educational channel that has been there for almost 20 years now. Where you have educational classes and everything, and from reputed professors. And the other thing that is happening in India now is like you have recorded tabs, pre-recorded tabs for each subject. So there's a company that sells courses to tabs which are filled in with courses, and these are popular here. It's quite a big company now. It's amongst the topmost companies in India where education is being sold on tablets. And so even if you do not have the internet connection, you can access those lectures, and these are made very professionally so that the student doesn't lose interest and continues to work on it. And for the point where we do not have internet connection, we could in fact identify the nearest point where you could have an internet connection, a human connection, and we could probably send some stationary material, and that could be distributed down to the inaccessible areas where students can have access. At least they could have a copy machine or something, whatever. So hard copy maybe best. We anyways would make slides for a presentation, so they can also be disseminated as slides as such. And
do you know about such practices already? Because this is incredible, right? This idea of kind of this network of people who interact. I don't know if this has been used.
I'm not sure. I mean, we do give hard copy to our students apart from the regular slides, and most of the students prefer to study not through the laptop, but through the slides which are there in hard copy. Even we, for as a matter of fact, when you have to study a paper or publication, we prefer a hard copy because that is a lot more easy to line and scratch and colorful and highlight and whatnot. So a hard copy is always helpful, I guess.
This, I guess, this is very good for students which are already. You describe students which have already a high background. I mean, let's say the last classes of school, right? So I can understand this is a complex topic for a student to see first time. So I don't know if we would give them a topic of, I don't know, of Anna, that she was doing, biology, complex stuff, and then they wouldn't be able to follow maybe. So there it's more important, or like it's additionally important to have a very good communication with the teacher that is going to supervise this material, right? So beforehand, instead of the organizer in the country, now it becomes the teacher that we will need to prepare the researcher with, right? They would need to have a good preparation together, I can imagine, for making this work.
Yeah, so basically, hi, I'm Anshu. I'm a senior scientist with Council of Scientific and Industrial Research in India, which comes under the Ministry of Science and Technology. When I met Lyubov, that was when I was at CRI in Paris as a long-term fellow. And that is when I got introduced to Lecturers Without Borders. So I think what you guys are doing is amazingly cool. And for one of the questions by Anastasia, it's like, is there anything available that gets closest to basically having access to the nearest node where one can actually go and access resources. So what my organization has done is we actually have physical presence across 40 locations across India. All of these are national laboratories which work on biological, chemical, mathematical, and physical sciences, in some ratio. Each one of these labs have state-of-the-art infrastructure that you can imagine. And what we have managed to do in past 3 years is to bring a couple of, like 1 million people online, in the sense that we actually run a Jigyasa program. Jigyasa actually translates to curiosity in English. So the Jigyasa program, it's a scientist-student-led initiative. So we have managed to connect students, teachers with the scientist. So the objective is not just to give theoretical information. These are school students who are in their 4th grade, 6th grade, 8th grade. So we actually deal with a very wide range of student community there. They come, spend time in the lab with the scientist for a few days on a regular basis. And we do that on a rotational basis for the schools that we can handle around our locality. So no, like they don't really end up traveling so much. And that is why I was recommending in my Google document that if we can use GPS location tools with these laboratories, we can connect them. They already have access to our labs, because one of the problems is that most schools in India, like the private run schools or the government schools which can afford, they are already running their full courses online. So the schools are closed physically, but nothing else is closed. They are having lectures full time since 1st April. So they are following the schedule by, as was run in the school. Everybody is in uniform, the teachers, the students. They actually do everything virtually, but it is all going full scale. The problem is what happens to students who do not have access to infrastructure that allows them to come online. For them, we can offer our laboratories for the teachers to come, download lectures, and maybe distribute CDs. We may look at funding sources where we can actually provide them, instead of providing the lecturers with any funding for travel, we should use that money to fund these people to buy that bare minimum infrastructure and bring them online. That is an investment to go a very long way in ensuring that what the resource that we are building is accessible to all of them. There is an online academy which is called Freedom English Academy. They have, I think, 25,000 kids online, but these kids are in all age range, like from 8 years to 30 years. May not be the best for Lectures Without Borders, but that is one community that we can look at to test our online classes. So this is what I was wanting to share, because online teaching.
This sounds incredible. This sounds like a separate research project which we could all start with and participate, right? I mean, this kind of starting
because
this
I think the objective of Jigyasa and Lecturers Without Borders practically overlap. How do you connect the two communities which otherwise really don't interface? And if we can use resources collectively at a global scale, see, we are doing Jigyasa only in India right now. If we can share what we have across the globe with what we have learned from India, there is something that we can collectively, identify solutions that may probably already exist. It's just that we are not aware of them and may not be able to apply them in our local geography.
Yeah.
At the end, many of my friends who have kids in school complain of one thing routinely, that I have to sit with my kid when he's taking an online class so that the student can focus. So probably it is for an online lectures, it is very hard to focus beyond a specific duration. So the parents have to be with their kids all the time, helping them understand the lecture or to focus on it. It's not going to happen without parents coming on board as well.
Yes. No, but thank you so much. Yes.
Just a couple of comments. I don't know what is the best option here, but just I want to make some observation I have here. One is that people are coming like overwhelmed by online meetings and everything, because suddenly you have to do everything online. And this is a perception I have from other fellows, friends, and at this point, a lot of people are getting a little bit overwhelmed of getting online for everything. The other thing, so here in South America, we are starting the school year right now. So all the universities, the school, everybody is trying to adjust to this new situation, trying to avoid losing the year, the academic year. We are just, my city is in the border with Paraguay. Paraguay already started at the university with online classes. And a lot of students from many universities in Paraguay, they are on a strike right now. They are calling on a strike because they said, we don't want online classes. We pay for live no for online classes, right? So we don't learn the same, so they are complaining. So for many students in many situations, could be a big problem to be online. So the other thing that there are a lot of offer right now because everything is getting online. So I think something to consider in planning this kind of actions is to think about what is going to be the plus of this kind of meetings. Because now there are meetings for everything, talks that are online, available online, offline, so you can download many from universities from around the world. So we have to think, or you have to think about what is going to be the plus of this talk.
That's a very good point, Julian. I had similar thoughts also. One, I'm thinking of the plus. So like the plus so far has been that the class that you were going to talk, like in the case that you were going, for example, would be able to make you questions afterwards. This interaction was actually the added point of everything, because for sure there are curriculums that can do better what any one of us can do in half an hour, right? And even online curated material. But then one of the maybe things to consider is that if we give a lecture online and we say this is the material that the kid can look at, then we put the kid in contact with the person live, so that the person can actually follow up questions that the viewer will have. So we can have a different idea. This is just a suggestion, like, because I'm hearing what you say. So a suggestion would be that maybe we can get, like, this is the profile of the person who speaks. And if you want to learn more about this field or this, just tell us and we're going to have you on the chat. He's going to come, she's going to come on the chat. They're going to come on the chat. Could be one thing that maybe is not there yet, just to talk with the researcher. Sometimes the questions that can come to the researchers, many kids are afraid to do this on Classroom because they're afraid they're going to be seen as stupid questions. So maybe this could be, just an idea, but I get totally what you say. There is material outside that is amazing, that is very curated, and I agree.
Yeah, I think there is also another point, which is basically the key focus of Lectures Without Borders, is that, of course, we are not replacing teacher. We are scientists. We are not trying to talk to students, to young students, and that's not what we do in our daily life, but that's what we are trying to do with this outreach activity. And I think this is also the difference to what all material that exists nowadays online, is that we are scientists and we can give a different perspective. And actually, I was thinking, discussing also with other people like Fulgence, who is also here today, on how to empower scientists to make like quality lecture, and how to approach this complexity that we've heard before. I think this period now that a lot of things are happening online is also an opportunity to organize, for example, online workshops where scientists can learn on how to better disseminate their science and better explain to young people. So basically, these were some ideas that we had, and in case someone else here is interested in attending such a workshop or has some ideas of what we could offer for you as a scientist to give quality lectures, that's also the moment to give some ideas or some suggestions.
Actually, hello everyone. Do you hear me?
Yes.
It's Anna here. Hello
yes.
from Milan. Hello from Milan. The schools are closed here since mid-February, so almost 2 months. So basically, the kids are already used to online like lessons, and I didn't intervene until now because they are used to online lessons. They do have internet in schools at home, but the problem is the language, let's say, because the Italian kids are not that good at English. And now listening to you, I just had an idea, but we could connect to the Russian schools, to the English schools, to the German schools in Milan, which are like a great number of the schools. So I think we could connect to them and talk to them in like in Russian, English, German, whatever. So maybe I'll try to set up some connections and we can do it. I'm Anna, my background is physics and mathematics, but I moved to neuroscience and economics for my PhD and postdoc. And yeah, and I'm used to online actually teaching, and actually we did also experiments online, people from Italy, and I was in LA, and I was running an experiment for other people in the lab, like.
Yeah,
so,
really?
Yeah, so all the time difference and stuff. So we are quite used to lab meetings online. We've been doing it forever because
wow.
Our labs are all over. So it's nothing changed for me, except for my kid is at home and I cannot work. But so
yes, maybe we could actually, for the next time, Anna, we wanted to discuss with all of you, also with Theo, right, and with all the people who we could not actually ask for their experiences of with online and offline lectures. We would make actually a separate workshop or dedicated to only online, right, lectures, because I have no experience in that. So maybe Anna, you or Julian, if you have any, right, connections to that, you could write in the document which we shared here, right, the document which Anastasia shared the link, so that we could gather the ideas of what would be actually needed for this webinar on the online education. Because if we decide, for example, to connect to some schools and to make lectures, maybe that could be one possibility to gather ideas around this. Yeah. And
hi, I just wanted to add one last bit. My name is Forum, and I met Luba at CRI as well. I've been a former student at CRI, and I'm a graduate in life sciences. So to add up on all these ideas, I've been in touch with, I'm from Mumbai, India. And so we've been trying to help the regional state government there with the educational initiatives. And these have been precisely some of our suggestions to the government as well. One, of broadcasting educational content on the TV. Second, to address the language barrier bit, because in the city of Mumbai and in the state of Maharashtra in general, we have quite some languages and regional vernacular languages present, as well as some global languages. And so in the television infrastructure, we always have some national channels which are broadcasted similarly all throughout the country. And then we have the regional channels, which are specific for each state, depending on the languages of those states. And so our suggestion was not to broadcast stuff on the national TV, but on the regional channels, so that the lectures could be in English, of course, because, say, for example, any of the lecturers from here attempt to give a lecture, it'll always be in English, but the subtitles can always be in the regional language that the people speak there. And so the language issue can be addressed there. With people without the internet, we also are suggesting to tie up with edtech startups who basically have set-top box sort of telecommunication network infrastructure, where they have all the content stored in it, and then people come to a certain nodal center, like how we've been talking about till now, and instead of print copies, you distribute electronic media in the sense of pen drives that they can go home, and expecting that not everybody has computers, but everybody has at least one phone in their home. You can just use like an aux wire to connect your pen drive with your phone and view the content. And then just to keep the connection between the teachers and the students intact, as in the reverse way as well. So all the tasks, activities that the students are supposed to do on a weekly basis, they could come back and put it in the same setup box, like upload it as if like a folder, which then at the nodal center, when you have the internet connection, you can upload it and send to your professors. So that helps in the two-way connection.
Forum,
Between
if you can send some link on that, on this document which we shared, that would be really helpful on that.
Sure. Yeah. I would do that. So that helps in the two-way connection. And the TV bit, we were thinking of, okay, you have all this online content. How do you curate as to which content goes online? So one of the simplest suggestions was to reach out to people who are available for a live session on TV, as if like a reporter is sitting for a panel discussion with a couple of other speakers on a news channel. So create similar scenario on the television where students can send in their questions through an SMS to the TV channel. And so those questions are just broadcasted there, and maybe you can do like a 1 hour Q&A session on a regional basis again, so that only that state people can interact with the person in the language that they are most comfortable with, and they can handle only so much of population, need not be the entire country at the same time. So these have been some suggestions to the state government there.
Yes, yeah, please send us the link, because I have not heard about that before. And there is, thank you, Forum. There is someone who raised the hand right now to speak. I think it was Dr. Ranier. Yes. Very, very not so loud. If you can increase a bit.
Hello.
Yes.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Hello, this is Dr. Rajinder from College of Applied Sciences, Sohar, Oman. So I hope everyone is staying safe. So my experience over here, since in our institution also classes were up from 14th March onwards. So since I'm a mathematician, so my experience during this time is that since we have a student information system, so we use the Blackboard to upload the lectures, video lectures, and then since as I told you, I'm a mathematician, so it's my experience that maybe students, they feel little difficulty in understanding some of the content, or maybe some components. So what I did, in place of uploading the material in the Blackboard, I also upload my YouTube video of a particular topic, and then I added them in a WhatsApp group, and asking for the the feedback, and also if they have any query, any difficulty. And what I experienced that some of the students, they face problem in accessing the internet. So how can I reach to them? Then I follow them, networking type, that meeting link, and I will find out that link share to them, and if they have just share the things with that. And this is my first experience, so it is quite good, interesting. So that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. We also got your video, so thank you very much for that, because we got all the three that you had on the
more
on the
will come
math.
soon. More will come soon.
Yes, and we have also Diane here, who also wrote us in Slack about her contribution, which you could maybe contribute with a video. So we wanted to come also to the part where we could actually say how we could stay in touch, because there are so many discussions here. And if someone of you is not on Slack yet, write to us in this event. Yes.
Okay, sure. I will respond it back.
Yes, yes, please, because many of you are there, but.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. So because we're also already a bit out of time, we can start to summarize. And basically, the idea is that we can continue with this series of webinars, and you can suggest the topics if you know someone who would share the experience on online education. We can definitely make the webinar on that, right? Yes, and there are a lot of open ongoing projects which are parallel to that. For example, the one which Anshu suggested, and online lectures which you already all recorded, for example, that could be one of the possibility to collaborate with each other. And if you have any other ideas of how to contribute, you could basically make the suggestions and write either here or on Slack. So with that, I don't know if anyone has any questions. Yes. Yeah, I'm just checking the chat. Misha or Nasya or Delphine, you have any?
From me, no. At least I think we have a lot to think. So, but thank you everyone, because we stayed. Actually, almost all people stayed over time. So that's actually nice testimony to that we were not, pushed away.
Yes, yes, because I know that we all are so overloaded with all the online lectures. So already. So.
Yes, and also actually we're always very happy if someone have some ideas or also want to help us to organize and to be also part of the core team. Or so just feel free to contact us. Also, if you would like to discuss more specific aspects, also not necessarily related to what we talk about today, but more generally, if you have some connections with certain regions in the world and you would like to help us, so that's always very welcome. So we can also organize discussions in smaller groups where we can discuss more specific topics or specific geographical region. So yeah, feel free to contact us anytime.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, Ilya. Also, yes.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
So I have a small point to make that for the next year or so, as we are probably switching to the online lectures, we can use the fact that this year the students don't have to be in the same room. So maybe we can gather students who are interested in a particular subject from all over the world and give them kind of lectures in this way.
Yes, I mean, feel free to just indeed to put it all in the Google Doc which we collect, because that would be really the easiest, so that I don't forget each of your ideas and we try to collaborate on that. Because yeah, I think you wrote it already, right? And yes, yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, if to be honest, I would love to continue, but I think that everyone maybe wants also to eat something or wants also to have offline time, because not only students are tired now. So with that, I just wanted to say that we all will add you to Slack, and we'll send you also the link to the recording if you are interested. And thank you so much again for all your contributions and ideas. You're just incredible to connect with, and thank you so much.
Thank you for
Thank
organizing.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Nice to get connected.
Thank you. I will make a screenshot if you don't mind.
I did already many.
You did? Okay, great. Okay,
I
great.
have like 1,000 also.
Oh, really? Then we can choose the best one.
Yes, that's an hour of work.
Yes, because actually Banji is our photographer, right? Is our official photographer. because you have the best background actually here.
Yes, true.
Mathematics, yes, that's always the best background.
No, I mean the background of Zoom, I meant.
The physical background.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, the physical background. But actually, for those who did not leave yet, because we did not make a round of introductions, but those who didn't present themselves, can you briefly present yourself? I mean, Ilya, you didn't present yourself for everyone.
Yuba, maybe can you stop sharing your screen,
yes.
and then we can see people in bigger.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice.
Yes.